In under 5 minutes, I'm going to show you the basics of Blender, and we're going to make this really cool low poly house, so stick around. Open Blender. This splash screen will appear. Select the general option or click outside the splash screen to close it. Blender consists of multiple boxes called areas. Each area has a different workspace with a distinct purpose. This area here is called the 3D viewport and contains the 3D scene. In the 3D viewport, you can see 3 objects: a cube, a light, and a camera. Left click on an object to select it. To select multiple objects, hold Shift while selecting, or click and drag with a left mouse button to box select. To select all, press A. To deselect all, Alt+A. To render an image, press F12. This image is taken from the camera's perspective, generated with the lighting from the light. Scroll up and down to zoom in and out on the center point. Drag with the middle mouse button to orbit the view around the center point. Hold Shift and drag with the middle mouse button to pan around. This button here toggles the orthographic view. The orthographic view takes our perspective. This is a toolbar. We are currently using the select tool. Below that is the cursor tool. If you select it and click anywhere in the scene, this circle will move to where you clicked. This circle is called the 3D cursor. When you add an object, its center point will be where the 3D cursor is. To add an object, press Shift+A and select the item you want to add. To delete an object, select it, press X, and then click Delete. Below the cursor tool is the Move tool, which will allow us to move the object around using these arrows, or by clicking and dragging from within the white circle to move it freely. The shortcut is G, followed by the X, Y, or Z keys to lock onto the respective axis. Pressing Ctrl Z will undo your latest action, and pressing Shift plus Ctrl Z will redo the action. The rotation tool allows you to rotate objects by dragging on these circles. The rotation shortcut is the R key, followed by the X, Y, and Z keys to lock onto a specific axis. The scale tool lets you resize objects. The shortcut to this is by pressing the S key, and again using the X, Y, and Z keys. For our house, we want it to be long and a bit shorter to make space for the roof, so let's scale it accordingly. Click on the drop down in the top left hand corner that says Object Mode, then click on Edit Mode. This is where the magic happens. These dots on each corner of the cube are called vertices. Each mesh is a collection of vertices, edges, and faces. The cube is a mesh, and so is a monkey from before. Selecting vertices works the same as selecting objects. To select an edge, go to the top left corner and select this button here called Edge Select Mode. Then click on the edge you want to select. For faces, use Face Select Mode. Using the tools from the toolbar, you can move vertices, edges, and faces, but only edges and faces can be scaled and rotated. Below the Move, Rotate, and Scale tools are the editing tools. To use the loop cut, select it from the toolbar or press Ctrl R and then hover over where you would like to make the cut. To make the cut, left click. If you would like to alter the position of the cut, drag to where you would like the cut to be and then release. Let's cut our cube in half along here and then move this edge up to create the roof. To use the Extrude tool, select Extrude Region, select one or more vertices, edges, or faces from which you would like to extrude, and then drag the yellow gizmo. You can also click and drag from the white circle for different angles. The shortcut is by pressing E, moving the mouse up or down, and left clicking when you're done. To create the overhang for the roof, we're going to select these faces, press Alt+E, and then select Extrude Faces along normal, and extrude like so. Then, extrude these faces using the same technique. Now, to create the door, make loop cuts here, here, and here. The Inset tool allows us to create insets. To use it, select a face and press I and drag the mouse inwards. Select the face for the door, press I and drag it in to create the inset. Select these faces and extrude them out, and then extrude this one out a little more to create a step. Make some loop cuts and extrude inwards for the window. Now, let's give the house some color. Go to Render Mode by clicking this icon here. This shows us what our scene looks like when it's rendered. Select the mesh and go to this tab over here, the Properties Editor. Now, let's change the base color here to something better. Now let's make a material for the window. Select the window face, then click the plus, click New, and then click Assign. Now, click this green icon and select Glass. Change the color to blue. You can repeat these steps by selecting the faces you want to change, and then adding materials for the rest of the mesh. After making some adjustments to lighting and adding all the materials, you can get something like this.